Welcome to my second portrait tutorial. Now I'll show you how to add hair and clothing, etc. So I am going to start by erasing some more of these lines that I don't need. And I'm also going to adjust some things that still need a little bit of adjusting from earlier. Okay, let's see. Okay, I did some of that while you weren't watching. All right, although I do want to also adjust the eyes a little bit. They're still a little bit too big. I'm going to get rid of these lashes, which are a little bit ridiculous, but just did those so you guys could see them. I'm also going to actually adjust the neck and make that a little bit smaller. So this face is turning out a little more feminine, and you'll notice if this is the jawline, the neck actually has to be a little bit narrower than the jawline. All right, and since our jawline is a little bit narrower than it would be for a man, that means that the neck is going to also be a little bit narrower. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start to add the hair. So this would completely depend on the person I'm looking at, but I'm going to start with the hairline where you see it on the inside here. So I might start with the part, let's say. Say it's going to tuck behind the ears, so I'm doing some with longer hair. All right, so that's the front of the hair there. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add in the top of the hair. So again, the part would probably be back here, corresponding with where we put it in the front there. It's going to wrap around the skull and pop up a little bit. We'll have it tucked behind the ear there again. Maybe some of this can fall forward in front. Some of it can go back. All right, so the important thing is we're thinking about forms. All right, notice I didn't do a ton of lines. I'm really just thinking about the overall three-dimensional form of the hair. Okay, I'm back. I got interrupted there for a second by my daughter. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to erase out the skull now, since that's being overlapped by the hair. And I can go back and add shading and some more lines for texture. So again, these texture lines are going to reinforce the form. You could think about where it's darker, where you would have more shadow falling on it. So behind the ear, behind the neck here, and these lines can double both as texture and shading. You're going to have a highlight around here in the center, maybe over here, and then as it moves back and curves around the head, it'll start getting darker again. And then these hairs are growing from the center of the part there. Okay, so that's your basic hair. Okay, now I've taken it back. So I've removed that hair, and I'm going to show you how to do shorter hair. So let's pause and get an example photo. Okay, so there is our example of a short haircut. So again, I've chosen one with bangs so you can see how that's going to work. So we're going to start with the hairline. All right, so there we go. We're going to get kind of this rough shape of the hair there. Comes slightly in front of the ear with the sideburns. Okay, and get the rest of it over here. All right, and then we're going to then do the outside of the hair again. So here I'm starting at the part, just like I did for the female. Or I should say long hair version. Not to stereotype. All right. Okay, so now we've done the inside and we've done the outside. And now I'm going to go back and erase. All right, because again, we don't need that line for the skull now. Okay, all right, and then, so again, we've got the basic form / shape, and then we can go back and add texture and shading with the lines rather than starting with the lines. So I'm seeing that a lot of the hair is kind of coming right here from where the part is. All right, I can start to make some of these pieces kind of come out and separate. Now I could also erase in there as needed, kind of de-simplifying what I originally did. And over here, where I've got a shadow, I can use the texture to help create that shadow. Then up here, the light's hitting it more, so I'm not going to use as much of the shading. Okay, etc. So now we've got short hair on our character. I'm going to pause here for a second. I'm also going to address the ears. They're looking very blank. So I'll do a close-up of the ear. Might be something like this. You're going to see a line in the ear, something like this, that we can then fill in and shade a little bit. And then you're also going to see something like so, and then in here you might see a form like this. So you don't have to get a ton of detail, but just to kind of fill in the ear just a little bit. Okay, and then over here, so this ear going the other way, same idea. So you've got this rim of the ear here that curves around. You've got a part here where it separates from the earlobe, and then in here you've generally got something like that. Okay. All right, so we've talked about the ears. That was bothering me. Okay, all right, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to draw the clothing. So you could do just a very simple t-shirt. This would be first part of the t-shirt. Notice I'm doing kind of an ellipse here. And then the t-shirt generally has kind of a double neckline, or that collar is, so it's going to look something like that. I can go ahead and erase some of this. In here, I would fill in with a little bit of shading in there. Erase what you don't need. Now, this figure here has a collar instead, so I'm going to go ahead and erase this version. Oops. And we'll do this collar instead. So this part is going to remain the same, but then I'm just going to follow the form out something like this. And you've got something like that. So I'm just breaking this down into the basic shapes. Over here, something like this. This side of the collar doesn't seem to fold over as much, so you don't get that fold there. All right, now finishing up, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add some of the details and shading to the neck. Oops. Okay, sorry for the pause. I was just adjusting the thickness of this. Okay, so I can get a little more detail. If you're doing a female, you're not going to necessarily have an Adam's apple, so I'll start with the collarbone down here. You're going to see something like this for the collarbone. So this is the part I'm drawing right there. You would also see some shading on the neck underneath the jawline. Oops. Underneath the jawline. Okay, because of course the jawline is under, the neck comes underneath the chin there and the jaw. And you want to get some of these curving, which apparently the digital drawing tool doesn't really want to do curves. But what I'm trying to do are these kind of elliptical shapes without much success. But hopefully you get the basic idea. All right, I'll erase out to kind of get that a little bit more natural looking. Don't need quite that much shading. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shade the Adam's apple a little bit. So I'll make this into a male now. So here I'm drawing that part. Okay, something like that. Shade that a little bit more subtly if I could. I would also, if I were doing this, I would shade underneath the collar. So one form overlaps another, maybe around here a little bit as well, where it's going back. You could shade the shoulders a little bit where they're starting to curve back. Probably see a little bit of the seam of the shirt here as well, something like that. And that just about does it. Now I'll go ahead and I'm going to add one more thing to this because this picture also has glasses, and that's something that often trips people up. So to get the glasses, I'm going to think about the fact that I can kind of do one line across the top. Okay. And then I'm going to notice how far the glasses come out to the side. Oops, so something like that. Okay. And then again, this bottom, I can kind of generalize to one form there. And then I'm going to do the actual bridge here where it comes across and these angles. Okay. And here I notice that on this I can see that coming back a little bit around the ear there. All right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to erase then some of what I don't need. So I don't actually need this for this style of glasses. All right, I don't need this. This was just something that appeared. Okay, and now I've basically got my glasses. I can modify those a little bit. I think they kind of curve in a little bit instead of going straight across there. And I can get rid of, oops. There we go, eraser tool. I can get rid of what I don't need in there. I could go back and get the brows back in. All right, so that's what the basic idea for the glasses over here too. I think I would see a little bit of those coming back. All right, well, that's about all I've got for now. So I hope this helped you guys out. Thanks for your attention.